What exactly is a temple? Why do they matter? And how do ancient traditions help Latter-day Saints better understand their significance today? Welcome to Covenant Origins, a channel exploring the sacred patterns of LDS temple worship and their ancient Near Eastern roots. Today we begin a new ongoing series, taking our journey through the ancient world and into the present to discover the rich traditions and theological significance of temples, ritual ordinances, sacred covenants, and much, much more. So be sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss a single step on this exciting journey. So why is it that human beings across time and culture have continually built sacred spaces such as temples, from ziggurats in Mesopotamia to Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, from Mount Sinai to Salt Lake City? Why has sacred space remained so central to religious life? For Latter-day Saints, temples are not just historical relics or symbols. They are living sanctuaries of divine covenant. Across the ancient world, temples were understood as the dwelling place of the gods. Hence the Hebrew name for the temple in Jerusalem, Beit Yahweh, or the house of the Lord. In ancient Mesopotamia, ziggurats, much like temples, were built to link heaven and earth. The Egyptians likewise built temples of sacred space, where the divine order, Ma'at, was ritually maintained. These spaces were not just places of worship. These were cosmological centers, where creation was renewed and the divine presence encountered. In the Hebrew Bible, the tabernacle, and later Solomon's temple, served a similar role. They were carefully patterned after heavenly realities and acted as the center for covenant life in ancient Israel.
And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them.
Such a command was again given to the Latter-day Saints as early as 1832.
And inasmuch as my people build a house unto me in the name of the Lord, my glory shall rest upon it, yea, and my presence shall be there. For I will come into it, and all the pure in heart that shall come into it shall see God.
This idea that sacred space must be set apart, patterned after heaven, and infused with covenant meaning is found not only in the Bible, but all across cultures in the ancient Near East. Evangelical Bible scholar John Walton notes that in ancient cosmology, temples functioned not just as houses of worship, but as microcosms of the ordered universe. Similarly, Latter-day Saint scholar Matthew Bowen explains that in ancient Israel, the temple and its sacrifices not only functioned to prepare Israel to see God, but also to meet him at the appointed time and place, thus acting as a liturgical bridge between heaven and earth. But the story of temples begins even earlier. In both Latter-day Saint theology as well as ancient tradition, the Garden of Eden wasn't merely a garden. It was a temple, a place where God walked and covenanted with humanity. Adam and Eve were not just farmers. They were priestly figures entrusted with sacred stewardships. Latter-day Saint scholar Donald Perry has shown that the language and imagery of the Garden of Eden mirror that of later Israelite temples, including eastward orientation, cherubim guardians, sacred trees, and ritually received commandments. This Edenic model frames the temple not just as a building, but as the restoration of divine presence, a return to sacred intimacy with God. Fast forward to modern times, Latter-day Saints believe that the restoration of temple worship in these latter days is not novel, it's ancient. Through Joseph Smith, doctrines of priesthood, sacred ritual ordinances, and temple covenants were not invented but restored. Temples today, like ancient ones, serve as places of instruction, covenant, and consecration. The modern temple endowment in Latter-day Saint temples echoes the same three-part structure seen in the ancient tabernacle: the outer court, holy place, and the most holy place, representing the journey of the soul from the lone and dreary world into the presence of God, illustrating our covenant relationship with Him. President Russell M. Nelson has taught,
"The temple lies at the center of strengthening our faith and spiritual fortitude because the Savior and His doctrine are the very heart of the temple. Everything taught in the temple, through instruction and through the Spirit, increases our understanding of Jesus Christ. His essential ordinances bind us to him through sacred priesthood covenants. Then, as we keep our covenants, he endows us with his healing, strengthening power.
This restoration brings back more than ritual. It brings back identity. It invites modern disciples of Christ into a sacred tradition or order that connects them to Adam and Enoch, to Melchizedek and Abraham, and most importantly, to Jesus Christ. So why do temples matter today? In a world fragmented with chaos, distraction, and apathy, the temple stands as a cosmic axis, a vertical connection between the divine and the mortal. It recenters the worshiper in covenantal relationship with God. For Latter-day Saints, the temple is where sacred covenants are received, eternal families are sealed, priestly power is endowed, and sacred knowledge is revealed, line upon line.
Therefore, in the ordinances thereof, the power of godliness is manifest.
But even for non-Latter-day Saint viewers, temples matter because they preserve a sacred pattern, one shared across traditions and history. They invite us to ask, what does it mean to dwell with God, to be transformed by him, and to live in sacred space? Now, some of you may be asking, but didn't the rending of the veil at the death of Jesus officially end the necessity of temples, and thus temple worship under designated priesthood authority? And what about Paul's words to the Athenians? The God who made this world and everything in it, he who is Lord of heaven and earth, does not live in shrines made by human hands. Don't worry. These and other common questions will be directly addressed in future videos. So make sure you stay subscribed to the channel so you don't miss it. Commenting on the influence of early Israelite temple worship, Margaret Barker, a non-Latter-day Saint biblical scholar, notes,
"It is beyond doubt that the faith of the temple became Christianity. Images and practices that most Christians take for granted, such as priesthood, the shape of a traditional church building, or the imagery of sacrifice and atonement, are all obviously derived from the temple. The gospel, as it was first preached by Jesus and as it was developed and lived by the early church, concerned the restoration of the true temple."
So whether it's Eden or Sinai, Jerusalem or Nauvoo, the temple has always been a place of covenant origin. It reveals who God is, who we are, and the path that God established to bring us back into his presence. A path that, for Latter-day Saints, is built upon the foundation of the atonement of Jesus Christ. In this series, we'll explore covenants, priesthood, ritual assent, divine councils, and much more, tracing these powerful themes from ancient stone altars to modern temple spires. Thank you for watching this introductory episode. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend. And if you're interested in discovering how the ancient world still enlightens us in our worship today, subscribe and join us on this exciting journey through sacred time and space. And consider becoming a member of the channel, where you'll have access to even more in-depth discussions on these and other topics.